Welcome back to the channel, everyone. As you can see, we've got some thing lines up for today. The engine, I got the clutch situation figured out, so it's time to put that all together. We've got some refreshed brake components we can put in as well. And besides that, it's going to be just a very chill day. Couple little things to do, so let's jump right into it.
Okay, hold on just a second. There's something more we need to talk about.
So in one of the last episodes, I told you guys I had a problem with my flywheel. So I was planning to put in a single mass M50 flywheel that I had still laying around. But it turns out that it's a small diameter clutch. So it's a 228mm clutch. But these cars, or these engines, they require a 240mm clutch. So it doesn't fit. It was a bit well, stupid, because I really don't want to put a double mass flywheel in this thing. It's going to be way too slow on the revs. I want something really sappy. So I went looking around and I was like, oh shit, aftermarket flywheels cost a lot of money. So I went back and forth, looked at some options. I considered going the M20 flywheel route, which people sometimes do. Because standard M20 flywheels are single mass and they are quite light. But I wasn't really confident in the smaller diameter clutch on the 3-liter engine. So I bit the bullet and I ordered myself an RHD single mass flywheel with an S38 M5 clutch. They sell it as a package, so I'm sure it's gonna work really well. It's a very light flywheel, only 3.8 kilograms, so I'm really excited. I think it's going to be nice and zappy on the throttle, going to fly in the revs really quickly. So I'm gonna show you right now. It's a really beautiful piece. So here it is, the RHD M50, 52 and M54 lightweight flywheel. Looking really nice. It's Chromoly steel, so very strong and super light. As I said, 3.8 kilograms. I don't think you're gonna find them much lighter than this, except for like the real race versions, which are like 2 kilos, I don't know. This is going to be fine for what I am going to use. So yeah, really nicely machined, and yeah, I'm really excited about this. So yeah, let's throw this on the car.
I recently bought a decent microphone to improve the sound quality of the voiceovers a little bit. So from now on, the sound should sound a little bit different. I hope it's going to be a bit better quality and less sharp, but we'll see. I'll have to figure out how to use it exactly, but I hope it's an improvement. So obviously going to start off by mounting our flywheel to the engine. Nothing special here.
Okay, so I've just shown you the flywheel and all that stuff, looking all really nice. But then I came onto another problem. So in the back of the crankshaft right here, you have to put a little bearing, like this guy. It fits in here, nice and snug, and it's there to center the input shaft of the transmission. So it just doesn't start wobbling around at RPM and stuff. It's quite important. Fortunately, this is the wrong size. It's a small size, like the track gearboxes have a 12mm hole. This Yev that I'm gonna put on the car as a 15mm shaft. So it doesn't fit. So that's unfortunate. I'm gonna see if maybe I can find someone that has this laying around, but chances are really slim. So yeah. Good morning! So to continue on yesterday, you know, we had the little problem that the small bearing for the crankshaft doesn't fit. I went online on Facebook and I posted the message in some of the BMW groups, and I managed to find one. Only 10 minutes away from here, so I went to pick it up this morning, and that means we can continue to put the engine in the car.
Installing these bearings is really easy. You just have to tap them into place. Just make sure that they're going in straight. I usually just use a socket that fits nice on the outer edge, that way you don't damage the bearing. And you just tap it in all the way. You don't have to be scared, you're not going to push it in too far. there is a little edge on which it will sit, so don't worry about that. Here you can see me install the clutch by eye. So I tighten 3 of the 6 bolts that hold the pressure plate to the flywheel. And I don't tighten them all the way, I just tighten them enough that the clutch disc itself stays in position, but you can still move it by applying force with your fingers. And that way you avoid that it falls out of position each time.
If you're having trouble or you don't know how to align the clutch and you don't have the tool, there's like a special tool for it. I don't have it. It's completely not necessary. You can line up a clutch just by eye. Basically, you have to make sure that the center of the crankshaft is at eye level. That way you can look down the center of it. And basically you have the small bearing that we put in. That has to be the center of your attention. And then basically you have to make sure that the clutch disc, and after that the pressure plate, so the edge here, that those are like concentric circles around each other. So they have the same midpoint, and then they have the same distance all around each other. Sounds a bit weird, I'll put in a shot of what I mean, but if those 3 are like concentric to each other, then you should be fine.
Then before putting the transmission into the car, I decided to change out the guibo because it's a little bit easier to reach it. My old one was starting to show some cracks, even though it's only a year old. I guess all the clutch kicks and stuff, they don't really do much good. So yeah, we're replacing it just in case. I'm then replacing the clutch throughout bearing. It should be included if you buy a new clutch. And I'm also changing out the clutch pivot pin. The original one is plastic and it can become a little brittle. And in the kit was also included a brass one, so a copper one, and I'm going to replace it with that. Once that is done, we're going to put the transmission to the engine. I usually put the transmission in a gear, that way I can take the transmission flange on the back and use it to turn the input shaft a little bit, and that helps it to slide into the splines on the clutch disc. Next up is taking the front end off and hopefully easily slide the L engine into the chassis. Getting the engine in was a bit more hassle than anticipated due to already having mounted the exhaust manifold, which made it difficult because the lollipops were a bit in the way and interfering there. And also because these engines or these cars have a rear sump setup, so the sump has to drop in behind the subframe, and that makes it a bit difficult to get everything in there. But yeah, after loosening some stuff, we got it in.
So the engine's in place. It took a lot more of a fight to get it in than I thought. I had to loosen one of the engine mounts, drop the subframe a little bit here and there, but I got it in. So that's looking great. Just found another issue, and I kind of expected this to happen. The transmission support, this is the one that I used on my E28. It's from an E36, I believe. And it doesn't fit this chassis. So on the older chassis you have like sliders here, but here in E46 there's just fixed points that are threaded. And as you can see, it doesn't come near them. So I'm gonna have to see. I've got a couple other supports, maybe one fits. And if not, then I'm going to have to source one. But that should not be a big deal, I think.
Yes, you are watching those damn lollipops again, the adjustable ones. For the last time, I promise. I've got a replacement for them, and here they are. We're gonna put them in the car right away, and then we can call the front suspension done. We first need to put the two pieces together, of course, and basically we just slam them in there. The hole in the bushing is a bit offset, and we're going to put it well to the outside as much as we can, and then we just slam them in there. They're really snug, so I'm quite confident they won't move around.
So I'm quickly going to show you guys what caster is. So caster is basically the angle of your strut. So let's say it's perpendicular to the ground, then we have 0° caster. Most cars have positive caster, which means like this. As you can see it a little bit, and basically we can adjust that. And the more caster you have, the more self-steer your car is going to have. Now I'm going to show you when I take the end of the arm here. If I pull it towards me, so towards the outside of the car, you can see it pushes the whole arm forward. This is really exaggerated, but this is what happens. So when we push it toward the center of the car, the whole wheel go backwards. As you can see. So again, that's really exaggerated, but that's basically what that does.
Once we have slammed them together, we're going to put them on the arms. I put a little bit of grease on there to help me, and then I just wiggle them on there nice and tight. And then next up, there's one more thing that we're going to do in this video. That is install a set of refurbished calipers in the rear. And here is the end result for today. We still need to add the brake pads to this. They are on the way. They will be for next episode along with a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that's for next time. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And with a little bit of luck, next time we can actually start this thing. And yeah, exciting stuff. So hang in there. I'll see you guys next week.